Hello, John McConan here with FavoriteRealEstate.net and FavoriteRealEstate.com. We've been mentioning that the Fed's warning about interest rates going up. We've talked about that's a risk for home sellers, maybe why they should be in the market this spring selling. Now, and we all felt that we know food prices are up. Whether you're buying a burrito for lunch, a burrito and a Coke can cost you close to $10, or certainly over $9 in San Diego. And normal, this isn't a Chipotle, just normal burrito shops. I noticed last night that in the past, spaghetti. I'm the spaghetti sauce. I'm the pasta maker sometimes in the family, and spaghetti sauce would be like for Newman sauce or Classico. It'd be $3, and I'd hope to get it on sale for $2. I'd probably wind up usually paying $2.40 or $2.50 because one of those two was always on sale. Last night they were both $4. Um, and I was like, what? And I looked around. I didn't see a lot of good. I didn't see any sauces that I would consider buying on sale. And then today I found this on Breitbart. The Department of Agriculture is admitting now that U.S. food inflation is running at 22%, which you want to talk about the income inequality when you combine rising medical insurance costs, crazy inflation costs, progressive taxation, and devaluation of your currency and therefore savings. You know, no wonder income inequality is going up. The cronies have enough to insulate assets that are inflation adjusted, and if you're not there, you're getting hammered. That's a side note. Maybe I should do a separate video on taxes. But anyway, what does this mean? Well, it's the same thing I said yesterday in one of the blogs. I think if you're a seller, especially if you, and this is additional to yesterday because I thought about it. If you're not in love with your house, it's you've got a lot of it's a high um, leverage. You're highly leveraged. In other words, your loans are a high percentage of the current worth of the house. Um, and you don't want to go through that short potential risk of short sale sitting trapped in your house again. I think you're definitely a seller right now. And talk to us, even if you're only a few percent over, not underwater. Um, Let us know. We have different ways we can work with you on that. We have sold houses for 1 or 2% for people to help them not be upside down. We also did hundreds of short sales during the short sale time. If you have a lot of equity and you're thinking of moving, whether it's up or down, um, we don't know. What do you think? If one sharp interest rate rise might help with the inflation issue, what might that do? Well, it certainly shrink the buyer pool, but there is a lot of demand in Southern California. So one sharp rate high might take a few months for people to adjust. So maybe by next spring would be a good selling season again. A series of interest rate hikes. I'm not sure. If you're a buyer, well, I can tell you I've been watching this now since the early 90s. I got out of law school in '91 at University of San Diego, and some of my friends were buying houses, and the market sort of went upside down on them then. I've been watching it ever since. Um, the really good houses with the great views and the great subdivisions where you want to be aren't for sale all that often. Even now, buyers know it. They're scooping them up. If you see a house that you like that's in a payments that you can afford, I think you ought to do it. Well, no, I think you ought to consider doing it because you might not see it again. Even during the short sales, the top houses, there weren't that many of them that that were for sale in the under $1 million range. Um, because there was nowhere else for a lot of those families to go. So if they can afford their payments, they're like, I can't get a better house than this anywhere near the price for rent. So they stayed. Whereas the over leveraged people in the cruddy houses were happy to go because they knew they had a cruddy house. They weren't cruddy, but maybe they had, you know, car lights coming in them at night, or they were on bad corners, or they didn't have good views, or half of Rancho Santa Fe was for sale because people were over leveraged in there. Um, but again, if you like the payments and you plan to be around for a while, um, I think you should still consider buying, especially if there's other reasons. You're near a golf course, you're near the schools you want to be at, you're near the water, you have a view. Some reason your house makes you happy. If you're just buying shelter, I think it's a tougher call. I don't really know which way we're going. The risk is we could go down, but there's so much demand. I don't really know where we're going. So, that's a tougher call. I think the same thing applies, but if you don't get the house you want and it goes down in value and you're overpaying, that must be tough. It is tough. But again, it could be a while before rents are cheaper than owning a house anyway. So, John McConnon, favoriterealestate.net, favoriterealestate.com. I'm happy to talk with you. If you're a seller, I will work with you on figuring out a way to get you the highest net. I can work with you as a lawyer, and then we don't even have to worry about real estate fees. We can do it as a flat fee. We can do it as a flat fee as a realtor. We do a non-MLS listing if you're going to price your house alone. You just want a good net, and you don't want to pay real estate fees. We're gonna work on that. If you're trying to net your absolute most, we can talk about that. But that frequently involves putting up on the MLS at the right time when there's not a lot of competition and incentivizing the buyer's agents. You even want to give 3.5, 4, which people who are in the finance industry who do deals understand that when the money finder, the guy who brings cash to the table, he can get 3 to 6% on his own, and that's essentially what a buyer's agent is doing. But they're also bringing the cash, the mortgage people, the buyer, they're educating the buyer to bring them the deal. And if you're trying to get top dollar for your deal, that's frequently one of the ways to do it. Anyway, I love talking real estate. I love talking markets. And that's not a charge. I think we can find a plan for you, or you may decide not to do anything, which is fine. We don't get insulted by that. In the new age, the people understand that, people appreciate information and they do business with people who are knowledgeable. They don't mind sharing their information. I don't mind either. When I start charging is when, we're actually doing sort of some of the mundane work of being a lawyer, or we're doing the things you have to do as a realtor, doing the marketing, putting it on the MLS, announcing it to other agents, sending out cards to the neighborhoods. I mean, the things you do to try to get the higher net kind of people, that's what we charge for. But the information, how we do it, how we suggest you do it, that's not a charge. John McConnon, thanks again. Favoriterealestate.net, favoriterealestate.com.